new series National Treasure: Edge of History was released on Disney Plus in December as a spin-off to the original movies National Treasure and National Treasure: Book of Secrets. Even after more than 15 years, the National Treasure movies still hold strong in our hearts, having featured exhilarating action-adventure storylines, detailed historical references, and beloved characters. Now, years later, the new series featured a chance to reconnect to all the things we loved about the original movies. Despite the excitement that came with the initial announcement of the follow-up to the beloved films, the response to the show has been a little less enthusiastic, which has left many wondering, is National Treasure: Edge of History good? Well, let's find out. In this video, we are going to go over 5 takeaways from National Treasure and help you decide whether or not it is worth watching. Before we dive in, let's give a quick summary of the storyline. The series follows 22-year-old dreamer Jess Valenzuela as she undergoes an adventure to learn more about her mother and father. Her friends help her along her travels, trying to break through the clues and discover the treasures that open up her mysterious family history. However, Jess experiences some conflict and competition along the way, keeping the action component of the original films alive. With an idea of what the show covers, let's dive into our 5 must-know takeaways before you watch. Make sure you stick around till the end so you can get our final verdict on the show and decide if watching is worth it for you. So let's start with our first takeaway. We don't see Nicolas Cage. Probably the most significant takeaway from the new National Treasure series is that Nicolas Cage is nowhere to be found. Cage's role as Ben Gates in the first 2 films is part of what made them so successful, with his dramatic presentation and charming presence that jumped out from the screen. Today, we can't think about the National Treasure movies without thinking of Nicolas Cage and his heroic antics. As a result, many people were disappointed that the new series does not include the iconic actor. In fact, this alone was enough to keep people from watching the show altogether. Still, if you enjoyed the original National Treasure for the fun of the adventure and the thrill of the history-based treasure hunt, the absence of Nicolas Cage alone shouldn't dissuade you from at least giving the new show a shot. What are your thoughts? Do you think the show should have included Nicolas Cage? Or do you think it makes sense that Disney went for a fresh concept? Let us know in the comments. This leads into takeaway number 2. There is a strong nostalgia factor. Even without Nicolas Cage, there are still several ways that the series pays homage to the original. If you enjoyed the first 2 National Treasure movies when you were younger, then you'll likely find plenty to appreciate about the new series. This new series certainly makes it clear that it is a spin-off / continuation of the original films and not just a recycling of the concept, as we see many pieces from the movies. For example, Justin Bartha returns as Riley Poole, the lovable sidekick to Ben Gates from the first films. We also see the brief return of Harvey Keitel as Agent Sandusky in Episode 1. Throughout the series, we also see little artifacts that remind us of the first films, like the Benjamin Franklin multicolored glasses, which were used by Ben Gates in the original movie to read the map on the back of the Declaration of Independence. As you watch, you can find multiple exciting Easter eggs as the series progresses. Let us know if you've watched the new show already and found any other hidden Easter eggs. That being said, this brings us to takeaway number 3. We see a brand new modern take on the show. Although there is plenty in the series that speaks to the movies from almost 20 years ago, the new series is certainly a testament to the times today. The series covers topics and ideas that are much more prevalent now than they were back in 2004. For example, our protagonist, Jessica, is a DACA recipient who worries about deportation during her adventures, which is likely a topic that wouldn't have been approached years ago. The series also branches out from the realm of United States history, taking the characters on a journey outside of the US into South America, placing more emphasis on other aspects of American history. Justin Bartha says himself that exploring history now is different from when the first films were made. Along the way, the show also covers comprehensive topics like indigenous history and the ruins of European colonialism. Opinions are mixed by how well these topics were incorporated into the series. Our next takeaway though has a bit more consensus. Takeaway number 4. The acting leaves much to be desired. For a dramatic adventure story that is supposed to reel us in, the performances are pretty lackluster. Throughout the film, we are reminded many times that this is a Disney film with a young group of protagonists by the uninspiring acting and the writing behind it. In many cases, the lines are cheesy and have a lot of us left cringing as we watch. The acting makes it hard to get invested in the story and makes everyone miss Nicolas Cage just a little more. The characters also fit into the classic Disney show tropes with the stereotypical roles and here and there goofy lines. However, if you love Disney shows, this may be a selling point. Now for the final takeaway before we give you our final verdict on whether or not the series is worth the watch. Takeaway number 5. The puzzles seem just a little too easy. For a mystery that hides unimaginable secrets, it is surprising how quickly Jess is able to put it all together. Somehow, she seems to have no trouble deciphering them to find the next segment of the adventure. The ease with each puzzle is solved, and the simplicity of the clues really take away from the thrill of the show. Part of what made the film so great were the elaborate, detailed schemes that were required to put the pieces together. Although the adventure component is still there in the series, the backbone of the show is weakened by the unrealistic simplicity of the clues and puzzles. When paired with the questionable acting, this takeaway is one that leaves us most disappointed by the new series. With all that said, let's dive into our final verdict on the show, and whether or not it is worth the watch. Here it is, our final verdict. Ultimately, if you were waiting in anticipation for this new series, then you are likely going to be left disappointed. However, it's important to remember that the original National Treasure movies were most popular among young kids, who were able to bask in the improbable adventures set behind the excitement of the detailed historical puzzles. Although the intention might have been to build off the nostalgia of the generation that watched the original films, this show seems best suited for, and likely tailored to, the newer generation. Mostly because they are less likely to see through cheesy writing and less than realistic events. Therefore, for most, it probably shouldn't be the first option on your must-watch list. Still, the show can be fun, entertaining, and lighthearted at times, and it can be a great way to pass the time if you are looking for something to watch. Altogether, the show is not downright terrible, but it is far from a must-see. Those are our thoughts. Share yours. Have you watched National Treasure: Edge of History yet? If so, what did you think? Make sure to tell us down in the comments. Share this video with your friends to give them a heads up before they watch the new National Treasure series. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to the Weekday Watch. We help you keep up with all of the excitement from the latest shows and movies with reviews, recaps, behind the scenes insights, and more. And hit the bell so you don't miss a thing. Thanks for watching with us. We'll see you next time.